Yo, welcome back to UrbanX TV.
Peace.
This is a special episode. We want to thank all of our subscribers.
Yes.
Everybody who's been supporting us. Everybody who's been going to the blog. Who's been following us on Instagram, on Twitter. Thank you for everything. Thank you.
10,000 subscribers.
Yes, big man.
That might not be nothing to you big boys out there, but
nah.
It's a milestone, and I wanted to congratulate you on what you're doing here with your, production, your blog, and you know what I'm saying. I'm very proud of you. This was your vision. I just was helping you out and adding some insight from time to time. But it means 10,000 people respect what we do.
Right.
We never want to take that for granted, as we spoke about. So what else we have going on? Before we get to that, I need my assistant to hand me 2 books. So
before we get to that,
yes,
we want to remind. This is thank you for the 10,000 subscribers. However, still need you to subscribe.
If you haven't subscribed
yet,
we need it.
Still need you to subscribe. Hit the little button down below. Hit the bell button so you can always stay up to date to what we're doing, because we have a lot of stuff coming in 2018.
Well, let's talk about some of the things that we have coming, young man.
So first and foremost, we have a podcast coming.
What?
Yeah.
Word. What's that gonna be called? Let me guess. UrbanX podcast. Oh yeah, that's gonna be coming. And what's that one? What's the premise of that? Pretty much.
A lot of people, if you've been subscribed to the channel, me and my pops, we do sit downs where he's in front of the camera, and we just bounce stuff off of each other. We talk about a lot of current events, so that will turn into our weekly podcast. But more of a back and forth dialogue rather than him going up. He'll still be going up too, because
I'm always go off.
He's always
so maybe in the vein of Joe Budden Academics, but just a little bit more.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They have opened the door because Joe Budden sort of represents my generation.
Right.
Academics represents your generation, and just some real powerful conversations in audio form.
Exactly.
So we'll take care of the audio. We have the written word on the blog.
We'll still be recording the podcast as well for people that,
Absolutely. We'll still add some visuals to the podcast. As well. So those are some of the things. We got a clothing line coming out.
Soon, yeah, we got some merch coming soon.
Oh, tell me all about it, man. Tell me all about
There's
it.
There's gonna be some dope logos, things like that. Hoodies, shirts, things like the hats, all of that stuff coming. It'll be on the website as well. UrbanX.nyc for all the people that have been visiting, because this year we launched in April, and we had a really good reception for people that have been visiting the website, reading the articles and things like that. So we appreciate that as well.
We appreciate everything and what we're doing. And we got some surprise guests for 2018. We'll keep that under wraps.
We're going to be doing a lot more interviews with people, and we're going to be actually going out on location as well.
On location, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to be doing more book reviews, so people send me your books if you need me, if you want me to read them. I still have some music I need to review for people as well as that. We're going to be doing that. End of the year got a little hectic.
You got a little big headed. You always you started doing numbers, and now you ain't got time for the little fans.
I didn't forget about anybody. So we're gonna be, way more involved and way more rounded, I guess, as a media company, as what we're doing here. And so
that's what we're doing for 2018. Stay abreast. And like I said, I just can't keep driving home. We appreciate it. Now it's commercial time. I got to do a commercial. All right. So, those who supported this, there's only 5 books left. 5. I only had 10 available. They went for $100. If you understand the importance of art and what this represents, you will never see this book again. 5 of them sold, bam. The next 5 sitting there. They will be gone by the end of this week. I guarantee you, get on it if you've been thinking about it. Put that $100 down on this. You see what's going on in the music industry, huh? If you saw Media Takeout the other day, they said a big mogul is about to be exposed. I wrote that 15 years ago. It's in this specific book. Get that. 5 left. I autographed them. I signed them. I numbered them. So if you waiting in the game and now you figure, the first 5 is gone, now I want to be in the top 5, now is your moment. If you send me money and the 5 have already been sold, I must just send your money back. Simple as that. Bing, you blew it. All right? Commercial for that. That's Hip Hop Decoded. This book is still available for $10.
It's on sale.
It's on sale.
Holiday season.
Until the holiday seasons is done, then it's going to go back up to $20. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you now, and $10 plus shipping and handling. See, I got to handle your book. That's like $2, $3. Look at me. This is your book. When I get it off the shelf, I got to handle that. That's $2, $3. I ain't got nothing to do with that. That goes to the shipping and handling department. Like when people call up and be like, I didn't get my order. You know what I do? I put them on hold and say, let me get in touch with the shipping and handling department. That's us. I say, wifey, what happened to their book? Oh, I sent their book out. I just got off the phone with shipping and handling. Your book is on the way. But we still have to handle that. What you think shipping and handling means? Okay? So, $10 for this. Jump on it because the price is going to go back up in 2018. I'm telling you. So, jump on that. Commercial done.
All right.
All right, now with that being said, I recently put up an article called The Science of Mumble Rap.
Yeah, it ruffles some feathers.
It ruffles some feathers, but that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. See, I like that. I don't need a whole bunch of people agreeing with what I said.
Right.
This ruffled some feathers. You got people on both sides of the conversation. First and foremost, I want to say I did not say I like, love, or support mumble rap.
Right.
In the whole 16-minute diatribe.
Yeah.
I basically was laying out, I'm an observer. And I don't get stuck. I observe it and I call it for what it is. You know what I mean? So there are those who got offended and this shit is garbage. Let me explain this. It would be very easy for me to write an article or do a 10-hour lecture on how bad mumble rap is. It's trash.
Before you, so that video was a narration of an article he previously did early in the year.
Absolutely.
And they just happened to come back around because of what's going on in music today. So if you want to read the article, it's on UrbanX.nyc. Just
that's a plug. It was in written word first. Brother Malcolm here, it's Brother Malcolm, you know what I'm saying? He added the visuals and I did a little narration to kind of, for those who don't read or, the YouTube era, it just is what it is and people are on the go and I wanted to give more insight and more clarity. It would be very easy for me to write an article bashing mumble rap. That's a goddamn layup.
Right.
That's so easy. I'm Black Dot. I could do that. It's very hard to walk toward darkness in search of a spark of light. Now, what I mean by that is it's hard to walk in a room filled with darkness and find that little spark of light. That spark represents potential. There's potential in everything we do. Now, if I do an article and you agree on everything I said, did you learn anything? Probably not.
Probably not.
And then you would go, Dot, yeah, but you just wasted an hour of my time telling us some shit we already know. The low vibration of the music and the drugs is this and that, and we get all that. It's very hard to walk against the grain in search of just a nugget that says potential is there. That's why in the back of this book, this entire book is about that. So if the science of mumble rap ruffled your feathers, this whole book is going to ruffle your feathers. Because the last thing says, we are not witnessing the demise of a culture, we are witnessing the rise of a culture. Things have to die to be reborn.
Right.
So if in the beginning was the word, and now we ain't even using words, fuck, this must be the end. Not the end of civilization in our time, because we're immortal. It's the end of a cycle. So you gotta find that positivity in all the negativity that's going on. And we're talking about drugs. Drugs and hip hop did not start with mumble rap.
Yeah, I don't. A lot of people in the comments took that in a way. I feel like they just totally lost the point.
They did.
Okay.
Most of them did. You know what I'm saying? Because drugs go all the way back. I'm an 80s rapper. We did cocaine. We smoked dust. We did weed, mescaline, PCP. I'm just keeping it a buck. Right? We did all that shit. Maybe we didn't rap about it in the songs.
Right.
But we did that. And then there was an era when the crack era, the trap era, the gangster rap era, all of these preceded mumble rap. I don't hear y'all talking about that. Mumble rap didn't just show up out of nowhere.
Right.
It is a process. If it's a devolution or devolution, it's an ongoing process. Then I hear people saying, well, these mumble rappers are just getting high and, glorifying getting high. Well, 2 eras before that, we glorified selling drugs.
Right.
And then we got an old school, new school thing going where old school dudes is like, yeah, but when our raps, at least we rapped about selling the drugs.
Not doing them. That's a really...
I gotta take my glasses off when I heard that.
That's a really just
I'm looking
backwards,
in the camera like this now.
That's
so
a really backwards...
Let's keep it clear. A drug user only affects himself per se. Mm-hmm. And maybe somebody in this household, if he goes steal a TV, I'm gonna take that TV, mama. I forget what movie that was with Samuel L. Jackson. You better give me the TV, mama. You better give me the TV. Right? Now, a drug user, if the plug is correct, can fuck up a whole neighborhood in 6 months. I seen it happen with heroin, and certain dudes come through and knocked out the whole community. And that's what we proud of. Okay, at least the user. Now, with that being said, I'm the Black Dot, so I just can't throw that out there. Right. Today's users, with the advent of social media and the outlets to sell their music, have become worse than the dealers.
Because it's reaching way more people.
Because it's reaching way more people.
Not in a direct hand-to-hand way, but
absolutely. But so I'm not letting them off the hook either. But we can't just look on the surface. It's almost like blaming mumble rappers, but nobody talking about the Jews who own these labels, who permit this.
Gatekeepers.
The gatekeepers and the gatekeepers. All right, I'm going to keep that out of the statement for now because I'm just keeping it 100. The gatekeepers, the ones who allow these so-called artists to tat up and do all of this kind of stuff until that's what we're trying to sign. All right? We keep blaming the effect and nobody is going to the cause of the problem. So I decided to write an article called The Science of Mumble Rap to show you that it's nothing new under the sun. And I made the comparisons between Das Effects. Bump still bum. What the fuck is that? It was dope though, because it was different. It was their style, and I admit I tried to bite it. I gotta remember when it was like diggity diggity. I was trying to do that. I said I gotta let that shit go. That ain't my thing. That's their thing. The only difference in eras is mimicking is allowed in this era.
Yeah, they just had Tory Lanez.
Yeah, he just took somebody's whole goddamn cadence, style, rhymes, but mimicking in general. So the labels will see something good and be like, we want that. Yeah. And then they do it. Back then we had something called being down by law. And you couldn't bite somebody else's style. So the reason Das Effect shit was so dope, it was because it was their style and you had to leave it alone. You had to leave their shit alone. If labels had decided we want a Das Effects on every label, it would have became a movement. You get where I'm going? So this is why the mumble rap stuff in this era is a movement. Yeah. All right? Now, side note, I made a comment about Africa Bambaataa and the song Planet Rock, where he says, I let my DJ, Breakbeat Lou, who did the compilations, the Ultimate Breaks and Beats, he's been my DJ since 1983. That's how far we go back. He's a musicologist. So he watched the video and said, yo, dope, I appreciate it. But he said the Africa Bambaataa part was a placement. Africa Powwow from Soul Sonic Force didn't show up to the studio that day, so Africa Bambaataa to hold the place of what the lyrics are supposed to be, and it's ironic because I mentioned a lot of times when you hear something,
you hold the place. You just said
you hold a place in your mind. You mumble it first because you ain't got the words, but then you go home and you make the words. So you might hear a beat like that's the mumble the rhythm. That's all this generation is doing, is laying it down. Side note. Africa Bambaataa gets in the studio and goes to hold a place for powwow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Arthur Baker, who owned the label, and I forget the other gentleman's name, liked it, so they left it, and it became one of the dopest parts of the song. So that's a hot take that a musicologist had to put me up on and say, oh, Doc, that wasn't on purpose. Show you how the spirit work. And he also told me on one of James Brown's songs, now this is a musicologist, He said one song, he just recently found out what the fuck James Brown was saying. Wow. Clyde, or one of the sayings that James Brown was going into, and he's a musicologist. That's how much James Brown could go into these trances and do what he did. I wasn't making a comparison to say, somebody even put, how you gonna compare Black and I'm Proud? I wasn't comparing the message. And some of the mumble rappers got some dope lyrics in their messages. They be dropping it. You know what I mean? So, but I was just simply saying the inaudible. James Brown became inaudible, but it was still funky. And scat be back, not do that, ski back. What the fuck is that? Dope for that era. Because they became the instrument. They no longer needed to hold an instrument. And Louis Armstrong could, because the instrument is just an expression of yourself. Is it not? Okay, so I want to say that because I wasn't glorifying mumble rap. I was giving you a different perspective so that you could at least allow different neurons in your brain to fire off to, think about the possibility.
Another thing people had a problem with was the actual title itself, the science of mumble, because a lot of people have this thing when they hear the word science, they automatically think of, beakers in the lab, goggles but
formulas and theories and theorems, the word science was loose because everything we do
is science.
Is science.
There's always a science to something. That's where the phrase comes from.
That's what I was trying to say. Like if you roll dice, niggas in the hood hustle and roll. There's a science to that shit.
There's a science to it.
It's a science to rolling dice. That's why some niggas always win. It's a science of the big bank take little bank. Look, I don't care how you keep rolling.
Right.
I got too much money to lose. That's a science.
It's a
science to going to Vegas and counting cards. It's a science. Yeah. So when I said science for the simpletons, I didn't mean literally I was going to give you a dissertation on the formulas in which mumbling. No, I was just trying to lay it all out for you. To say, when you hear people catching the Holy Ghost, right, or James Brown or Das Effects or Bone Thugs and Harmony, I didn't know what they were saying. Twister. India, he wasn't mumbling, he was rapping so fast that
it sounds like gibberish.
Right, it sounded like gibberish, but when you slowed it down, you understood clearly what he was saying, but he was rapping sorta in another dimension.
Right.
He was, speeding up time to your ability to process sound. His words were greater than that. I believe he's in the Guinness Book of World Records.
I think somebody took it.
Oh, somebody took it recently, but at one point he was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm only making this video to say I understand the whole concept of demoralizing and drugs, and I wasn't promoting drugs. See, we have the elephant in the room that we don't deal with. I could be politically correct all day. Politically correct is fucking us up because nobody wants to deal. That's why I put the elephant. The elephant on the cover, because we have to deal with the elephant in the room, and the elephant is in a mirror, which means it's a reflection of yourself. We have to deal with self. So everybody on drugs is not depressed and going through shit. Some people are just getting high, trying to reach other dimensions. A lot of our people know this is all bullshit, so they would rather escape it, even if it's temporary, right? And a lot of our greatest musicians, Coltrane and these dudes is on heroin and shit. You know what I mean? And the list goes on and so forth, because the drugs accelerated something and opened something up within themselves. When you combine that with the music, we're talking urban alchemy now. When you combine a bottle of spirits with some drugs and great music. The music alone is enough to do it for you. But when you combine those things, it can lead to an altered state. I spoke about real creativity. Just listen to the Jadakiss and Fabulous album. Shit is fire. Jadakiss got the dopest voice in hip hop, as far as I'm concerned. Easily, right? And Fab is an underrated MC, not rapper, MC. Yeah. Okay, for me, okay? His bars, you know what I'm saying, he's real clever, slick with it. But there was no real creativity there, if I want to keep it a buck. That same process has been used by Melly Mel and Grandmaster Cash. You put a dope beat on, they said some clever shit. Now the shit is a little bit more clever. Right. But at the end of the day, there was no creative process there, other than something we already know. It's a formula in place, and I don't understand if we rap the same way for the next 50 years. How's that progress?
It's only so much you can say.
It's only so much you can say, but even if you disagree, you have to give the mumble rappers at least a little credit.
Remember? So you remember? I want to say like 09, 08, 09 when Lil Wayne and Drake they had the it was called the Super Duper Flow when about to set it off Jada Pinkett when they were doing that.
Yes,
that was. People didn't like that at first either.
Right, and that was the start of it.
That was the start of it because it kept stuff different.
Absolutely. So
a lot of people didn't like that either.
You know what I mean? And then you have to understand one thing about Drake too. He began to rhyme, sing, harmonize, and in this generation, it's about melodies.
That's all you need now.
You know what I'm saying? Drown and drown. It's all about melodies now.
Yeah.
Back in the days when the Cold Crush used to do routines and the Force MCs before there was the Force MDs and the Fantastic Five and the Trek, that's all they did was routines, which was based on melodies of commercials or songs they loved and this and that, and then they would spit their bars. So ain't nothing new under the sun if we want to get technical with it. The mumble rappers go in the studio, they get high, and there's nothing planned. Everything is spontaneous. So they would get there, and if it's 10 takes, 10 different things might come out. That's creativity in real time, whether you agree with it or not.
And it's not going nowhere.
And it's not going nowhere. It's going to be here. Now, there will be a phase, because it could fade out a certain aspect, but I have no problems with that. Death is a part of life. Damn, that was deep, Bows. Now, but what I'm saying is, things come, go, styles change, and they continue to evolve and repeat themselves over time. And my old school dudes, y'all got to step it up because y'all going in on these dudes and anything outside of the golden era, you know what I'm saying? Because at least the golden era, there was a variety of everything. So we had gangster rappers, we had Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, we had Cool G Rap, we had Public, we had such a diverse spread. But this is before these corporations got wind of what we was doing, which I break down in this book. When I say everything we do is magical and spiritual, they realized that hip-hop was more spiritual than we was leading on. So they put the gatekeepers in place to make sure that creativity doesn't start from the bottom and come up organically. Trees don't grow from the bottom down, they grow from the bottom up, right? But if the labels can dictate what is acceptable, then the creativity comes from the top down.
There's some record label, they have a actual book that lays it. Joe Budden was talking about it. A book with how to make a hit, like what samples to use and things like that. So.
And then there's the 440 megahertz, you know what I'm saying, in which they record this music at. Your music should be at 432, and 440 is where it's at. That gets a little deeper into, we'll bring Blue Pill in, and he'll go through the laws of 44 to give us expound on all of their music sounds a certain way. So, and I say this to young artists, you be in the studio, I book studio time and I put my best effort in, and when I got the product home, it sounded good, but it didn't sound like that shit on the radio. And then my wifey was like, and she don't deal with none of that shit, she said, dude, look at the equipment they using. And then I had to get into understanding the megahertz where everything is on the same frequency. We talk a lot about frequency, right? They make all that music and that shit sonically sound amazing outside of the engineers. Shout out to Young Guru, you know what I'm saying, and other engineers who really put their heart and spirit into the music. But there's a process with that where all of their shit sonically sounds fucking amazing, right? And then Joe Budden's, like you said, he'll go into the book of the cadence, what you should say, so they have the formula down. Who gave it to them? We did. By continuing to do what we do.
Unknowingly.
Unknowingly, right? But they don't get no blame for it. We continue to blame the byproduct of what we see. And a lot of these dudes, and you know, I'm always looking for the diamond in the rough. As I say, the crack era killed a lot of people, but it also made a lot of entrepreneurs too. It became the startup money. Let's be real. It became the startup money for a whole bunch of black enterprises, right? That are now legitimate businesses. And I'm not knocking it because that's what the Rockefellers did. You know, bootleg liquor and all of this stuff. And nobody talks about that now, but they are 100 years into their business and they're legitimate businesses. So the crack era killed a lot of people. It's easy, I can write an article all day about it. But for me to find that spark of light, which is, damn, about 150, 200 black legitimate businesses was probably birthed out of that, because the only thing we needed was startup money. We're geniuses. The thing we lack is a little bit of startup money. Once we got our hands on the startup money, Jay-Z and P. Diddy and this one and that one, and I'm just generalizing, Jeezy and Rick Ross, and all of these dudes own major companies now. Right? Denzel Washington, I remember Harry O, who started Death Row, hired him and put him in a play. You know what I'm saying? Early on in his career. All of this stuff is intertwined and interconnected. So all I'm simply saying is, don't be so fast to just throw the baby out with the bathwater. These are young people, and yes, the drugs are affecting a whole bunch of people, but it's always been there. All right? We went through the gangster rap era, the trap era, you know what I'm saying? The crack era. You know, now we got the mumble rap era. What's gonna be next? And us veterans gonna sit around and criticize because it ain't what it used to be.
And a lot, real quick, from my point of view, I'm 24.
Yes, young man, let's get it.
I will go back to some of those albums. A lot of them wasn't that evil.
Yeah.
We blinded by nostalgia, to be honest with you. There's some albums that a lot of people hold to a real high regard. If you go listen to it, they didn't really age well. So, a lot of people...
Well, that's going to be a topic in itself for our podcast.
Definitely.
That we will get into. You can bring the albums out. And if I feel different, I'll defend them because I lived through it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, I forget, it was a rapper recently, a mumble rapper, who recently said we need to respect our elders.
Oh, his name is Famous Dex.
Famous Dex said we got to respect them, but he said, I'm about fun. My music is just about fun. He looked like he's about 20 years old. You know what I mean? He said, but I respect Nas. I respect the OGs. He said, if you want to listen to real music, you listen to 444 and all that, and Mary J. Blige. He named a few other people, but he said, my music is just about fun, and I'm honored to have the opportunity to make some money off having fun. So, I understand the significance of using drugs. I understand the significance of inaudible speaking and how it's denigrating us, but English ain't our goddamn language to begin with. So there's something spiritual in that, and how they can make things and sequence and be on the same frequency. And I said that in the article. If you ever go into a party and you late, it sounds like a whole bunch of people talking very loud. What the fuck? Because you're not on the frequency. But for those of us who have tapped in, it sounds like I'm having a regular conversation with you, and that's frequency. You know what I mean? So we're not supposed to understand what this generation is doing. I don't understand emojis. I don't understand text messages. I don't understand any of that. And all of that's a part of the mumble rap generation. In my humble opinion, it's their way to cut themselves off from us, because hip hop itself was a crop of shit to my grandparents and my parents. Wait a minute, y'all gonna take 2 turntables and cover the records and fucking scratch on the record? The records were pristine. They would keep them in these covers and take them out and dust the record off and place it on with the needle and you turn up the 40 band EQ with the red light, and they playing cards, and y'all kids better go to bed, goddammit. You know what I'm saying? It was a whole different, and here we come, right? Big ass flat tops and shit, gazelle glasses, oversized glasses, Lee jeans with permanent creases in them and shit. We need not 1 turntable, we needed fucking 2. And then we gotta cover the label so you can't steal the identity of this record, and we gonna scratch this shit back, only this piece of the record. The rest of this shit, you saw the movie,
The Get Down.
The Get Down, that's the bullshit part of the record or whatever, because the only part of the record was dope was the Get Down part. So you mean y'all not gonna listen to the words? I don't understand what y'all doing, Dwayne. I mean, no, it's just this little I don't get it. And then you're gonna talk over this?
Right.
There's no singing, no. And you know what they thought it was? A piece of shit. Jazz purists in particular, wait a minute. Y'all motherfuckers don't even play instruments. And y'all in the park, they thought it was a piece of shit. So cycles repeat themselves. Now we have mumble rap, and now we can take all of our frustration out on the mumble rappers. And we allowed it to happen because we don't own shit. And the Jews who, the gatekeepers who run these labels get off scot-free with no consequences for what they do because it's the mumble rappers' fault. Who didn't get an education, who figures, damn, if I can write these dope ass rhymes, I can go buy my mother something. Or it might even keep me out of jail. I'll go entertain some people. You know what I mean? I understand the power of music better than most. I've forgotten more about hip hop than most will even remember. So you're hearing this from somebody who understands all facets of it. But don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Right? Don't just blame them and don't take no responsibility for nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just like I used to tell my elders, wait a minute, y'all sat around in these fucking diners and got y'all ass whipped and y'all didn't do nothing? And that's how this generation sees it. Right. So one generation blaming the next, blaming the next, blaming the next, we get nothing done. So I'm willing to have great dialogue. I'll hit some people up.
Oh, email us as well. UrbanX.nyc@gmail.com.
Yeah, email us.
Email us. We pretty responsive.
Yeah, we're pretty responsive to that. Some people wrote dissertations. I can't get back to everybody. But this video I'm trying to use to clear up. So I never said I love, like, support it, but I observe it. And I like to walk into a dark room looking for a spark of light because that's where the journey is. And I like to challenge my brain not to just accept everything I hear. Oh, that was right. He killed that. I killed it because you agree with it? No. I kill it if I make you think and go, wait a minute. I may not agree with it, but at least the wheels are turning so I can see it differently. That's all I'm trying to do. They call me the black dot, and that's just a point of reference. It ain't the story. That ain't my job. I'm just a point of reference. And that point of reference, if you continue to pursue, where you choose to take that is on you. There may be somebody who come out with a video on top of this that has all of the answers, that can fill in the spots. That's great. I'm just giving you my perspective on it. So let's not just bang out on mumble rappers like it's not a part of who we are. Everything is everything. So the generations that came before it, the crack rap era, the trap rap era, the gangster rap era, we've been through many eras and they all started up and if in the beginning was the word and now we no longer have the word, that's a good thing because that means the end is near of this shit and then brace yourself for what's next.
Right.
With that being said,
this is UrbanX, man. Subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the like button.
Hit the like button. And buy these books. Kids need toys and shit. I can't afford to buy him. Let me do something really sad. Play sad music on this podcast because in this special effects. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my son here. And I want to buy him some stuff. So I need you to buy this book. If you do not, just cut the cameras off. Just get too emotional. Subscribe. Buy this one for $100 though. Keep the motherfucking camera.
Peace.
Peace.